Hi, I'm Crs Mischkit, and today I'm going to be talking about how to address the jungle in Infinite Crisis. When jungling in Infinite Crisis, you should always look at your team's composition and pick something that complements it. For example, if I see my team has picked Green Lantern or Atomic Green Lantern for mid, I'll pick Gascat. I picked this because Green Lanterns both have great early game burst, as well as a slow and CC to help Gascat stick to our target and do a good burst rotation. If my mid laner is Sinestro, I would go with Shazam. This is because Shazam can lock down a target and set up a deadly burst for Sinestro. Of course, there is always Nightmare Batman that can synergize well with almost every mid laner. My favorite is Star Sapphire, as they both have good CC as well as good burst. It is important to remember that all styles have their place, and choosing the right one is the first way to get a competitive advantage. It may seem like there's nothing to do before the drones start pushing, but a strong competitive team will always look to pressure the map and set passive camps on the enemy side. The best way a jungler can help is by escorting your mid laner so that he can establish vision mid to help you get a better idea on when to gank. Once early game map control is established with your team, look to grab your first top elite camp. You should always start the elite camp to bring an advantage to your top laner. If you start with a speed camp, utilize it to get a gank mid or bot after your first backing. The most important decision the jungler has to make is how best to prioritize his time. If you spend too much time trying to gank, you miss out on the guaranteed credits from the jungle. But if you spend too much time jungling, their team's jungler might have free reign over your lanes, terrorizing your team, and you're going to have a pretty bad time with that. A good jungler should always try to analyze the game and see what is best for their team. I like to hit alt tab intermittently throughout the game to take stock of both teams and both junglers. If I see that their jungler has a lot of credits but hasn't shown much in lanes, I can assume they will continue power farming and that I can either gank my lanes or look to catch them in their jungle. If I see that my team has a lot of deaths and their jungler a lot of kills, I know that I either need to be in a position to counter gank or begin stealing camps so that when they return to their jungle they have nothing to farm. The most important mindset a jungler must have is to never waste time. It is obvious that as a jungle, I should be paying attention to the map objectives such as buffs, EMPs, and how far pushed up my opposing lanes are. But something most amateur players don't do is notice the power curve of team comps and when it's okay to give up objectives or when you need to take objectives. For instance, late game scaling compositions would be like a Superman, Green Arrow, Joker, Green Lantern Prime, and Shazam. They are all great champions endgame, and when you play against that, you should be farming and counter jungling. The best thing is not to fall behind against these heroes. Early game scaling heroes are Batman, Atomic, Wonder Woman, Catwoman, Gaslight Cat, Blue Beetle. These champs are strong in the early game, and your primary focus should be heavy ganking, controlling the objectives, and counter jungling. Snowball your team. That's the best way to play against these heroes. As a jungler, you should always be working towards getting your team an advantage that you can use to push and end the game. The way I do this is by controlling vision towards the span of Raider so that once we are far enough ahead, ending the game is a breeze. Make sure to understand your role in the fights, whether you should be diving their marksman or protecting your own. If you do all these things, I guarantee you will see a vast improvement in your games.